Well, here we are on the day after Memorial Day, and there's something about that holiday that just puts me in a very summery attitude. You know, it's kind of the unofficial beginning point of the summer season, and lots of things to look forward to this upcoming 3-month period from June until late September. Stanley Cup Finals finishing up, NBA Finals look great, lots of MMA shows, lots of movies coming out, lots of novelty food products. I mean, it's a pretty good time of year, you know, and of course you can go hiking and be outside and all that other boring stuff, but really who cares? Well, anyway, the whole point of this video, I was talking to a friend earlier about Freddy versus Jason. I'm not really sure how it came up into a everyday banal discussion, but it did. And they kind of brought up the question of some other horror-themed, karate fight movies that people would actually want to see. And the one that kept coming up over and over again, and to me I think it'd be the absolute just biggest train wreck in the history of film, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to have colossal train wrecks in your entertainment. The million-dollar question. If someone made a movie which featured the eponymous Leprechaun taking on Chucky from the Child's Play movies, who would win? Now, I'm going to give you like a sort of honest marketing opinion on this matter. Then I'm going to actually try to give you an actual diegetic, canonical answer. Alright, and of course, feel free to weigh in and throw in your own options, discuss what you think would be the case, whether or not, one party would win and the other would lose, because really we got nothing to lose at this point moving forward, because it's a dumb idea for a video. Alright, so from a marketing standpoint, this would be a very, very hard sell, because, doing Jason versus Freddy, coming up with a plot to make that one make sense was hard enough as it is. Trying to come up with any sort of cohesive argument for why Leprechaun and Chucky should ever interact in one shared universe, that's a tough one. I'm not really sure how you'd go about doing that one without just doing something completely just absurd and ridiculous. And in that, I mean, the film has to be absurd and ridiculous, because you can't have Chucky and Leprechaun working together. Maybe Chucky's out there trying to find some immortal Celtic object that'll make him live forever, and Leprechaun wants it and they're fighting over it. Or I don't know, it's just really, I don't even know. It's just one of those things too ridiculous to even ponder. But I gotta say, there are a lot of similarities between the two characters. I mean, they're both known for wisecracking, they're both of short stature, they both target children, just like Michael Jackson. I mean, they target children, not any reference to any deceased pop stars from the 80s. Not doing that. We don't gobble on low-hanging fruit around these parts. But I mean, they're very similar canonical. I mean, they're both magical creatures. I mean, you can kind of quibble about Chucky being like a wizard, but the fact that he's like the spirit of that dude from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest inside a My Little Buddy doll killing people, that's pretty magical in and of itself. I have a hard time disputing the supernatural qualities of that. Whereas the Leprechaun obviously is clearly a mythological being whose scope of powers really were not known, but they fluctuate. They almost seem to rival those of Freddy Krueger, depending on which movie you're watching. So, from an actual, if I'm doing an MMA bet on this one, it's pretty hard to go against the Leprechaun, because the Leprechaun, he's a Celtic figure. He's basically like a demigod figure. In part 2, he made a gold bucket rise over that dude's chest, which is clearly indication this guy has a whole lot more power than Chucky does. He's got some sort of metaphysical abilities that the other character in this equation does not have. So yeah, I mean, just with that in mind, I mean, it's kind of hard to go against Leprechaun. I'm pretty sure Leprechaun also has the height advantage. Presumably has the weight advantage, seeing as how dolls weigh 7 pounds. Mobility, I think I would probably give that to Leprechaun as well. And I don't really see how Chucky wins this one, unless Chucky's playing it really smart, where he's pretending to be a doll, and the Leprechaun doesn't know he's a doll, and he has a knife with 4-leaf clover on it. That's the thing that's always kind of like miffed me about the Leprechaun movies is how, like, what is required to kill him changes from movie to movie. There's always a brand new Deus Ex Machina. Like in the first movie, if he touches the 4-leaf clover, he dies. But in the second one, they changed it around to where, you know, if you set his gold on fire, he explodes. Or was it the third one? Well, anyway, regardless, there's a new way to kill the Leprechaun in every last one of the movies. And I'm sure we'll make something up new for this installment too. But like I said, I mean, I'm not really sure how you make a coherent plot line out of that, or how it would be remotely, you know, decent, didn't have any quality acting, who do you have a supporting cast. But, you know, if you're going to make a movie about, you know, the evil girl from The Ring taking on the evil girl from The Grudge, I mean, seriously, Chucky versus Leprechaun, might as well do it. I mean, it can't be worse than, you know, what, Batman versus Superman. Just go in there, make it goofy, have lots of gratuitous TNA, lots of outlandish death sequences, and a really good 20-minute grand finale where, you know, where Chucky and Leprechaun exchange quips and lots of blood flies everywhere. You know what? It probably wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be completely unentertaining and horrific and unwatchable either. So, those are my 2 cents. If you want to weigh in, give your thoughts. How exactly would you, if you were directing, if you were tasked with scripting the movie, how exactly would you make it so that these 2 figures actually intermingle in any sort of fixed medium? And also, of course, you know, give your thoughts. Who wins? Chucky, Leprechaun, no holds barred, steel cage, lights out, death match. Who you got winning? Alright, something to mull over. And now I'm off to go do adult things.